communicate it. Like as a man, I don't even know what I need as far as the word respect goes. Like, if you ask me to define it, well, what would I say? That you honor me, that you.
That's another vocabulary word. Honor.
Yeah.
It's lost in culture. We had, and it's been lost in culture for probably our whole generation, and maybe even our parents to an extent. But we saw a young couple last year, 18, 19 years old, high school sweethearts, probably elementary school sweethearts, I don't know. But we were talking about the 10 needs, and we got down to respect. And I just glanced back to the table, and they both had deer in the headlights. And I just stopped, and I said, did I miss something? Did y'all miss something? Did I say something wrong? I never say anything wrong. I said, did you hear something wrong? I'm just kidding. I was seeing who's listening. But we needed to park there a minute. The young man said, I never met my father. And he said, my mother raised me. He said, summers I spent with my grandparents. And at supper every night, my grandmother had supper ready when my granddad would get home, and we would eat dinner together in their kitchen and watch Andy Griffin and Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, one of those three during dinner. We got done with dinner, and my granddad would get up and go in the living room and sit in his recliner, and the kids would go in there and hang out with him while my grandmother would clean up the kitchen. And he said, that's the closest conclusion or definition I have of respect. And so he looked to his fiancée that was premarital counseling, and I said, can you provide this? And she said, no. And she said, we both are working 2 full-time jobs right now, and she was in school. And she's like, that'll never happen, at least for not the next 4 to 6 years. And we both know that. And I said, so if this is your only idea or framework of respect, we got to fix this. And so I went to her and I said, what is your idea of respect? She teared up, and she said, my mom was married either 3 or 4 times to different men while I was in high school. Just in 4 years or 3 years, however long. See, I was on the fast track, so I think, 4 years, 9, 10, 11, 4 years, 3 or 4 different husbands, father figures in the home. That's where culture, unfortunately, a lot of culture is at now. And so it is real. And when we talk about respect, we try to throw out some definitions, both for the man and for the woman. And like most things, usually we may not be able to relate to the actual definition, but we can relate to what not to do. And so when we talk about the need of respect, for the man, it's being admired or admiration. I got a lot of friends that hunt, and I hunt a lot, as much as I can. I love to be in the woods. My girls love to be in the woods. It's just who we are, what we do. And I can bring, maybe a deer in, and my wife will just, that is awesome. She's taking pictures and sending them to friends, and that's the biggest deer I've ever seen. Same thing with my girls. We build them up, because we're proud of them. They spent time in the off season preparing, practicing, shooting, all this stuff, and then it happens. And so there's an admiration there, and there's also an aspect of respect kind of likened to admiration that is being desired. I mean, we all need to be desired, not only from our spouse, but in our occupations and in our friend circles or whatever. Recently kind of took a little new journey and got back into some business. I'd been out for a while, but there was different folks calling me and encouraging me and say, hey, do you want to use some office space or this or that? And it was just good to be desired or sought after. And I really don't have anything to offer other than, me. But just that being desired and being sought after, it's good. And it's good in a marriage to be desired. And that's one thing during the courtship that happens a lot. You're desiring to spend time with the other person and desiring to get to the wedding day, the closing table, whatever. But that desiring aspect's there. For the woman, it's the same too, being admired and being desired, but it's also practical assistance. And in practical assistance, there's days where all of us have crazy days, and we get in, and maybe Stacy went to Walmart that day, and I despise those plastic bags. I think they're like the spawn of hell. I hate them.
My wife, she takes them and she puts them under the cabinet, and we'll have like hundreds of them, and I'll go in there, I'll see a plastic bag, I'll throw the whole thing away, and then she'll be like, what happened to my plastic bags? I'm like, you had 400 bags in there.
I hate them.
Right.
I like the paper bags,
right.
But she'll pull in, and I can see the plastic bags through the car window, And I may open the door and say, why don't you just come on in and sit down? I know you're tired. Let me take care of that. And she'll say, oh, yeah, practical assistance. And she'll sit down. And then she's thinking I'm going to go out there and put all 300 bags on both arms and come in there like, you know, the Incredible Hulk. But then I go and sit down beside her on the couch. And I'm flipping channels and she's like, hey, man, what about that ice cream out there that's melting into my seat? And I'm like, hey, girls, get the groceries. That's not practical assistance. That's not it. Practical assistance is me meeting her at the door and saying, go sit down. I can handle this. I know where the ice cream goes, not just in my pie hole, but it goes in the freezer. I know where the milk goes. I know where the ketchup. It's just the little things. It's taking the trash out, which I'm not great at, really. I need reminders, even though it's above the counter. But it's the little things. And from what we've learned, that speaks volumes for the woman, is getting that practical assistance.